I'm super excited to
Okay.
have you.
Thank you. Thank you for including me.
Of course, of course. Okay, so let's start it out.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. We've
Okay.
been in the home health care business since 2015,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and we strictly uh, take care of clients that are on Medicaid.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we help the seniors and disabled in that aspect. And like I said, we strictly work with Medicaid. So our funds are not the greatest because
Got it.
if you're familiar with Medicaid,
It's
uh,
difficult. It's a process.
Medicaid does not pay enough money for a reimbursement for
Mm,
us to pay our caregivers.
got it.
Which is where we find ourselves. It's hard to recruit when we can't compete with McDonald's or Whataburger.
Yeah, totally.
And the rates that we're supposed to pay versus what we pay is a little bit more, not a whole lot, but that's how we've been managed to keep most of our employees. We have a good percentage of employees that have been with us for a long time that are
Okay.
loyal
Mm-hmm.
and hard workers, and we try to compensate them, you know, whether it be with a bonus here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not anything that we can afford to do on a weekly basis or anything
Right.
like that. And of course, this year, all agencies have to apply for what they call a rate enhancement,
Mm-hmm.
and we did that this year. We've been doing it for the past 3 or 4 years. The very first year it was beneficial because we went from like $10 reimbursement to 13, which we were able to pay our caregivers a little bit more. And at that time, the rate for caregivers was like $8.10.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
So, and that's, as per the state, this is how much we can pay. And in order for us to be able to function, we couldn't pay a little anymore. We went up to like $9, and even
Mm-hmm.
$9 is not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
Then the
Yeah,
following
totally.
year, we went up to like 13 something.
And
This year, they had told us that it was going to be increased to 17 point something. Well, it didn't happen. We got like maybe 30 cents increase, which is nothing,
wow, that's
you know,
that's nothing.
nothing. So this is the dilemma that we find most agencies like ourselves find themselves in.
Mm-hmm.
That the reimbursement rate, for caregivers is not very much. And, agencies still need to pay lights, still need
Of
to pay
course,
rent,
everything. It's not an
and
easy
taxes
business.
and whatnot. And it seems like the state doesn't really think about that. They'd rather have them in a facility, which will cost more per client versus keeping them at home,
Mm-hmm.
and letting us assist with the care. And a lot of them prefer to stay home,
Of
for the most.
course.
And but unfortunately, the way things are going, we don't know what the future holds.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, for agencies like ourselves. I mean, I'm not the only one. Everybody's
Right,
struggling
right.
right now, and some of them have really shut down. When COVID hit, it
Uh huh.
hit a lot of agencies.
Of course.
And
And
ours still stayed alive.
thankfully, and I hope you guys stay alive. I hope something can happen, either if it's from the government or from extra funding or donations. Not sure, but hopefully.
Yeah, and that's what we hope for. I mean, if they would just take into consideration the fact that our aging and disabled population is growing by leaps and bounds, and a lot of them are opted to stay home versus to go to a nursing home.
Mm-hmm.
And from experience with nursing homes, not to say anything about them, but the care is not always there. You
Got
know,
it. Yeah,
and because they have more than one
they have a
client
lot.
per nurse's aide. They can't really give that one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, I hope that maybe next year when they start thinking about funding these programs, and it's Medicaid. So like I said, I don't know what the future of Medicaid is going to look like next year or the year after that. If they
Right.
continue to do things.
Because they've cut some more with this with the new government, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been cutting a lot of programs that deal with Medicaid, and the thing about it is that, like I said, our future depends on the government and what decisions they make,
Mm-hmm.
and helping, our clientele. And we've grown,
Mm-hmm.
through the years, and, we've lost some and gained some, with
Mm-hmm.
COVID, we had a lot of clients that passed,
Oh no.
you know, but, every year somebody's going to pass because they're getting
Yeah.
older, what have not, and then we gain a little bit more, and that's how we maintain, you know. So
Got it. Got it. Yeah. Hopefully the government takes a little bit more. There's a lot of people that depend on this.
yeah, I mean, to me,
Unfortunately.
it's like, I understand the government needs reform.
Right. Of
I
course.
understand that there's a lot of waste,
Yeah.
but I believe that the aging and disabled should be a priority because
Yes.
they've already paid their dues and
Yes.
they're trying to survive, and they need the care,
Exactly.
whoever needs to work needs to work,
Right.
and I agree with that, I mean, it's been that way since I was growing up. People take advantage of the system,
Of course.
and then
It's
some
always
of the
gonna
people
happen.
that are working with the system know how to maneuver
Mm-hmm.
to help friends, families, or whatever to get onto the system. And that's where I think the government really needs to tighten up on that, because I mean, I'll be the first to say there's a lot of waste
Yeah.
in a lot
True.
of a lot of federal programs,
Uh-huh.
but you can't just cut without evaluating. Where do the cuts need to be? Where do we need to increase budget? Because aging and disabled is not a priority for the government, and unfortunately it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully they'll realize that. Until it hits home, they don't understand. you know
Yeah, sometimes that happens when until they just realize it became like such a wave, then that's when they act.
right.
Right now, like it's like cutting a light cable. Like you see a cable, you don't know what you're cutting, and then you realize the whole city's out of power or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's kind of what happens to the older people. And I
Yeah.
myself, I'm there. I'm 70 already, and
Mm-hmm.
I hope that there will be people out there that will be able to take care of me,
Of
like we're
course,
taking care of them.
we're all gonna need it.
And
All
I
gonna
mean,
need
we're all headed in that direction.
it. Yes,
You're
correct.
still a baby,
Yeah.
very beautiful baby, but but
But I know absolutely. It's like my grandma right now. She has Alzheimer's, and we're all taking care of her. But we know that at one point she's going to need somebody that's in home with her all the time. Because at one
right.
point she's probably going to forget how to shower or all of the things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and right now, like I'm dealing with my husband who has dementia,
Oh.
and those are kind of things. He's not that bad, but he's in the starting, and I see the things that are happening. So with that being said, it's like this service that we provide, even though it's not skilled care, we provide care for them too. Like shower, meal prep,
Mm-hmm.
medication reminders. They need companionship to go to the doctor or grocery shopping or pick up their meds, whatever the case may be. We provide that. Those are certain, things that they can no longer do for themselves.
Correct.
That's where we come in. And I mean, it's like everything we tell our caregivers. You got to think of your parents. If this was your parent, how would you want to treat them? How would you want them to be cared for? Because you have to have that empathy and compassion to care for other people.
A lot. A lot. It's not an easy job.
Yeah.
So it's very admirable, and these people are doing the best jobs that there are. Like they caregivers, doctors. I think they're just magical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of our caregivers, they get attached to the clients because they become their second family.
I love it.
Sometimes we're the only people that they see because family members are no longer engaged in their day-to-day existence.
Right.
you
Especially
know.
also in the states that so many people move to other states to search
Hmm.
for careers opportunities. So a lot of the times, all people end up alone.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And it's sad because sometimes they die by themselves.
Oh my God, that's
And
terrible.
and if we weren't there,
Mm-hmm.
there's nobody else. So those are
100%.
the kind of things that we've had a couple that one of them passed away with a caregiver, and I mean, and she took it real hard because she had been with her for a couple of years,
Uh-huh.
and that happens more often than not, you know.
Totally, because
But
sometimes yeah, of course, the kids might not know exactly when it's gonna happen, of course, and taking time to travel,
mhm.
it's hard, and just life is hard with the responsibilities, um, jobs. Sometimes your boss won't give you a permission, just like things like that, and they arrive
Yeah.
after the person's death, unfortunately.
So anyway,
Yeah.
can
um,
I answer any questions you might have?
yes. How did the agency started?
Well, we actually started in my home.
Ooh, that's awesome.
We were doing interviews in my house, and my husband was like, "Okay, I can't walk in pajamas anymore because there's people coming in and out of our house all the time."
Yes.
We did that for a couple of years until we got a little office, and we moved to a little office,
Uh-huh.
and it was like three of us on top of each other because it was a very small. But
But that's
we
how you
started,
start, right?
yeah. And then after a few years there, then we got this office where we're at now,
Beautiful.
and it's just been, it's been a dream come true to be able to be your own boss, but at the same time, the struggles that come with that,
Mm-hmm.
and dealing with, the political side of funding and things of that nature that we don't have any control over.
Yes, that's very hard because sometimes as an entrepreneur, it's hard, of course, but you have some control. But this is totally out of you guys' control.
Yeah,
So I can totally understand that. Um,
yeah,
like you can do as much as you can up to one point.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And what has been the most rewarding moments, or if you can mention just one, that you've had in the agency?
Rewarding and funny. I mean, because I had one client that I loved him to death. He passed away since, but he was just such a sweet man,
Mm-hmm.
and just to be able to fulfill his, because he was kind of estranged from his family. He had a daughter that never came around, only wanted to come around when she needed money.
Oh,
So it was kind of sad to see him that way,
so
and
sad.
he ended up going to a nursing home because he was having a hard time, breathing and stuff like that. So they put him in rehab.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, he calls me and he says, "Sylvia, I'm ready to come out." And I said, "Well, I'll come get you." I said, "Are you sure they're dismissing me?" He goes, "Yeah, they're dismissing me." Well, I get to the place and he's flying in his wheelchair towards me, and there are people chasing him.
So cute.
And I'm like, "Hey, what's wrong with this picture?" They hadn't dismissed him, and they were trying to keep him in there because he wasn't ready to go because of his oxygen levels. And it was kind of funny, and it broke my heart at the same time because he was like, "Please take me home," and I was like, "I can't."
You
You know,
can't.
I
Yes.
what if something happens to you in my vehicle? Then I have to take that,
Uh-huh. Exactly.
responsibility, and I can't do that.
Oh,
But
that's so sweet, though.
it was just kind of funny because I was like, he had me on the getaway car, he was ready to get out. And that just kind of like, it just gives me I guess, the satisfaction of being able to be there for people.
And that
And develop those
you're
relationships.
the safe place for them.
Yes.
So that is beautiful because, of course, as somebody's alone and they sometimes don't understand that they need to be in the home because of the help.
Yeah. I mean, he had his own apartment and everything, and he was very independent. But it was like he's like they bring you here and then they don't want to let you go. I'm ready to go. Please take me home, and I'm like, I can't take you home. They're chasing you down the hallway. I'm like, oh my god.
Oh my god, that is so cute. That's like a movie moment.
Yes, exactly. I was like, oh my lord, it would only happen to me. But this client, because he was hilarious. He kept me laughing all the time. But I was like, I cannot be a getaway car.
Totally. They'll be chasing your car too with an ambulance or something.
Yeah. But anyway, rest in peace, because he's gone already. But yeah, he was one of those. He was funny, and we had him for a long time. He never. He would say, "I don't want to leave this agency. I'm not going with anybody else." Blah blah blah. Because y'all are like family.
No, so sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, and
but
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say we have a lot of clients like that are. They've been with us for a long time, and they don't want to leave.
And that's
they
amazing.
Programs. Yeah.
What is more rewarding than that? That having clients that don't want to leave.
Well, really, that's like the greatest compliment, because obviously we're doing something right.
Correct.
And we have a good staff. We have good administrators, and that's kind of the key of keeping us grounded and being able to serve the best that we can.
Right on. And Sylvia, apart from the Medicare issues, is there maybe other challenge that you guys currently have, or that you guys had at the beginning, that you would think it's worth to mention?
Well, really, just the staffing due to the funding. That has been the main issue: the staffing. And we're, like I said, we're not the only ones suffering that way. A lot of agencies are, because some other agencies have other sources of revenue where they work, with Medicare or private insurances or whatever. Okay. We don't do that because we're not skilled care. You have to be skilled in order to be able to do that.
Okay.
Have like a nurse on staff. Our director of operations is a nurse, but you have to have like somebody that is willing to do a lot more as far as on the skilled care side with people. We would have to train people more.
Okay. Got it.
And that requires money.
Of course. Always everything that requires an investment.
Yeah.
And have you guys explored like donations or things like that, or not?
We haven't.
Okay.
We've never done that,
Yeah,
that would not be a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how it works, of course, but I think like you could review and see if there's a possibility of adding an option to your website, or creating a website where you guys request donations for the elderly or things like that. Going to the church, also putting some flyers there or something like that.
Yeah,
could be interesting.
That would be something to look into, because no, we've never done that before. We've been at the mercy of Medicaid.
Got it. And of course this is how, because I've worked with some nonprofits doing ads for them, and they just like everything is through donations, and they even like Google has this very cool program that if you're a nonprofit, if you apply and they accept you, they give you $10,000 in ads for free. So like I manage their accounts, and they don't like those $10,000 is they don't pay for it. So it's pretty cool.
What is it called? Google what?
It's called Google Grants, but you have to be a nonprofit for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we are a profit.
Yeah, correct.
For profit, so.
Yeah, but it would be like you could do like your separate private thing, with asking for donations. Yeah. Okay. Right. Now let's talk a little bit about digital marketing. Whatever you know, have you guys done any digital marketing at all, or not?
No.
Got it.
No.
And how
the only marketing we do is like our website.
You have your website.
And that's really about it. Facebook.
So in Facebook, like you guys post images and stuff like that. That's what you do.
Yes.
Got it. And people arrive to your website? Like you've gotten clients
Yeah,
through your website?
yeah, we have.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
also, some caregivers through our website.
Some caregivers, you said?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah,
and
because we advertise for caregivers, and sometimes we get a real good response. So
okay. And also you guys, apart from that, I guess just the word of mouth.
correct, correct, and
Awesome.
most of our referrals come through TMHP to Health and Human Services.
Okay.
And then also the MCOs that we work with, they go ahead and also refer us to clients, or give them our name, and they select us or whatever, and that's how we get our referrals through Health and Human Services and the NCOs.
Got it. And I have the okay. So, you guys only work with Medicare, and that means that the clients, the full amount they paid comes from Medicaid, right? They don't pay anything out of pocket. That's how it works.
Correct.
Got it. Okay.
Right. It's Medicaid. It's Medicaid. It's a federal fund, Medicaid funded.
Uh-huh.
So, like most of the programs, because Medicaid is the only one really that provides long-term care
Okay.
for our indigent and elderly and disabled.
And
So,
you guys wouldn't be able to have some clients that, let's say, pay out of pocket because you need that other nursing expert that you told me about, right?
well,
That's
we
how it
have
would work.
we have private paid clients, but it's the same service. You know,
Okay. So you
that
work with a
they
little
don't
bit of both.
qualify for, and we have very few of those.
Mhm.
They don't qualify for Medicaid, but they need our service, and they've heard
Mhm.
about us, so they'll call us, and we'll work with them.
Got it. Because that's another option, trying to find more of those
Yes,
clients.
right.
Yeah. Okay, got it. Let me see. And what do you think is the biggest challenge that you guys have had in regards to getting new clients?
The biggest challenge is having adequate staff, you
Mm.
know, to staff our clients. 'Cause like I said, it's our recruiting. I mean, we've done pretty good considering,
Mhm.
that our pay rates are not high.
Uh
We've
huh.
done pretty good because we actually do pay our employees. We hear a lot of stories about other agencies not paying
Oh
them,
my
and
god.
it's been like months and months that they haven't gotten paid. So then they
That's
go looking
terrible.
for somebody, and they come with us. And that's one of the main things that I've always dealt with is our employees are the face of the company,
Of
and
course.
I got to make sure that they get paid before anything,
Yeah,
you know.
100%.
And so
Because
it's been my thing, and we've been able to recruit some of those people that way because they weren't getting paid where they were at, you know.
yeah, yeah, that's an easy recruitment right there.
So we like those that come with caregivers.
exactly.
We don't have to go trying to recruit caregivers, but
Yeah.
it's been it. We get those stories, and that happened a lot. Through the years that we've been in business, where they say, I've been working with this agency for 3 months, and I still haven't gotten paid. And I was like, oh my god,
Jesus, 3 months. How do people do it? Oh my
exactly.
god.
So it's like, no. I said that's my main priority because I take care of the finances, and I make sure that our staff gets paid before anything.
Hmm. Beautiful, and that's how it should be. And
Yeah.
that's why people will keep working with you.
Yeah, and that's why we maintain our business. Like I said, with COVID, we got
Hmm.
hit, with losing clients and what have not. But I always managed to have a little cushion there. So when times got hard and we needed, I always have money to pay people. Even when we had that bad freeze, and even Health and Human Services kind of shut down, and they got hacked, and it was kind
Oh
of
my goodness.
hard to get, funding,
Huh.
because things were happening that and so it delayed our payments and what have not.
Hmm.
But I always made sure that we had enough funds to cover everybody.
Good. That's what a good business owner does.
So
yeah.
anyway, but we've managed to stay on board, and we're doing better. We're getting more clients. Our
Very nice.
operation is getting more streamlined with our new director that we brought on board, and he's really helping us in that aspect.
Hmm.
and
That's good to
recruiting more
hear.
clients and you know
Absolutely.
have a representation.
Beautiful. Then, and I hope that you guys keep growing. I hope that you guys don't have to uh, shut it down or anything because you guys do very important work.
Well, so far so good.
Good.
Knock on wood.
Beautiful. Knock on wood, yes.
On wood. So far so good. So hopefully we'll be around for a while.
Yeah. Sylvia, thank you so much for the important work you do. Where can people know a little bit more about you or the agency?
Well, they can go to our website at cater2u.agency,
Okay.
and it says a little bit about us and what we do and our staff.